Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from the Ladies Garden and Home, and it's towards the end of April and it's time for an April garden tour. So I hope you join us. So just about 2 weeks ago, I filmed the video about April tasks and what we were going to sow in April and all of the different things that we needed to get done in the garden. It's a very, very busy month, and in order to keep myself from getting overwhelmed and exhausted, what I've been really trying to stick to is doing about an hour's worth of work in the evening in the garden every day. Sometimes that's not possible, it's raining or, work gets in the way, but for the most part, and just 1 hour is, I think, enough for me not to feel like the soreness in my legs and my back like I normally do when I just overdo it. But I wanted to show you the progress, and I wanted to kind of show you this stage of the garden in April, because we're going to be changing a lot in the next couple of weeks. So I thought it would be a good time to kind of get a snapshot of where we are. Okay. Here inside the house, we still have the warm season flowers and vegetables. We've got the peppers. They're looking a little bit scrawny and damaged because of the aphid problem we've been having. The aphids came in from a plant that I brought in from outside over winter. And there's the nasturtium. Over here we have the tomatoes, and I have to say they're growing nicely straight, and I think it's due to this tinfoil, because the only light that they have been getting is from this window. Over here is Mancini, the peperoncini, and as you can see, he really suffered a lot from the aphids. But one thing I've noticed just in the last few days is he's starting to get just a little bit of new growth. Ooh, you can see those aphids really bad. Ugh. Here's the purple opal basil that I had to resow because aphids took my first round. The calendula is also suffering. I just up-potted them. They were in some tiny seed starting trays for a while. The marigolds, zinnia, that's all that's left, 3 each. And the borage, I don't know if this is going to make it. But being that it's April, I still have time to get another round started, which I'll probably do this weekend. Here's the hibiscus. This is the second try, and they're looking pretty healthy and good. In this round pot over here, that tiny little seedling over there, 2 of them, not 3, that's lemon balm. And here is finally the Single Seed Challenge 2023 Archie the 4th. That's right, 4 tries. 3 times they never germinated. Finally, I got a germination out of the 4th seed. I also changed and bought new seed. Instead of the Imperial Star, I decided to get the Globe Green artichoke. That is supposed to be perennial in zone 7 and above. So I'm hoping to be able to hold on to him for at least the coming year. Over here is my very first try at propagation. I had never tried propagating anything before. And so sometime in the fall, I took a little snippet of coleus, a snippet of basil from my now 4-year-old basil plant, and a little snippet of rosemary from my rosemary that ended up actually dying outside. And just kind of nurtured them in my bedroom window all winter. I actually started a new propagation just this past week, taken from this coleus. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving the basil and the rosemary their own pots shortly. And then I'm going to take this upstairs and I'm going to propagate even more coleus off of this plant. I understand that coleus is one of the easiest to propagate. All I did was I took a cutting, I snipped off the bottom leaves, leaving just a little bit of the top growth. I put the stem in rooting powder and I just stuck it in the dirt. So I like propagating. This is going to be probably my new thing. And over here, I got fancy potatoes from Hudson Valley Seed Company, and I'm going to be planting them as soon as I pull some of the overwintered brassicas from the grow bags outside. And I've got a couple of, Layla, Layla wants to show you the potatoes. Say hi, Layla. Let's see, I've got Upstate Abundance potato, Adirondack Red, that looked very pretty. What else do I have? I've got dark red Norland potato. What is this? Oh, I think this is another kind of a red potato. I took the thing off of it and put it in the bag. And then this is Upstate Abundance. Oh, I guess I got two of them. All right. So anyway, I'm going to be planting those out very shortly. It's almost the end of April, so it's time to get those in. And they're shitting right in their bags. As you can see, I think enough light is getting in for them to start sprouting inside the bags. Out here on the deck, I've got this catnip and oregano and thyme over there, doing very, very well. These are perennial here. They, in fact, except for the catnip, which I actually planted about 2 years ago, the oregano and the thyme were all already planted in these containers when I moved in, so that was lucky. And then in this container, I had to restart my dill. That was a bit of a failure. But as you can see, I just planted them directly into the container. I sowed them directly into the container with seed that I had saved from my dill last year, and they're starting to sprout. They're looking kind of cute. More herbs over here. We've got parsley. We've got the random pine tree seedling, and we've got cilantro over here. And the chives are just about to bloom. I'm very excited. I bet you they're going to look beautiful. And this thyme over here is starting to rebound after a rough winter. The spinach is really starting to leaf out. It'll be ready soon to start picking them for baby spinach salad leaves. Over here in the mini greenhouse, which I obviously have bungee corded on a very windy day like today to the deck. There isn't much in here because I haven't moved the warm weather veggies out yet. What we have in here, and it just stays open now. I don't close it up at night because it hasn't gotten that cold. I would say maybe mid 40s, low 40s most of the nights, sometimes into the high 30s. That's Fahrenheit. We've got the leeks. We've got the celery. We've got fennel, which I thought was dill that died, but it didn't. This is the fennel. I did the taste test. some alyssum over here. And down here are the cosmos and chamomile, and those can withstand some lower temperatures, so they're staying out here until the bed is ready for me to plant them out. The flower bed's not ready yet. The blueberry bushes are looking nice and healthy. We've got some flowers on this blueberry bush. This one hasn't started blooming yet, but it's got all of that new growth you can see with the lighter color leaves. The strawberry cart, strawberries are very happy. We've got a ton of flowers and more on the way. That's exciting. These are ever-bearing strawberries. I don't know the variety. I bought them at a florist, and I was very happy when I planted them the first year, and they really did bloom and produce all year long, from spring to the fall. The rose bushes, this one here didn't make it. This was a really tiny little mini rose. This one's starting to really leaf out. I'm gonna wait to trim back these branches because, as you can see, there's still some buds coming on. The butterfly bush, I thought didn't make it, but then last week or so, I just noticed tiny bit of growth popping up. So I will cut back this dead wood and encourage this to grow on. This is the 4-year-old basil plant. Not the most attractive, but it sure does like to grow. So I have it outside. Probably should bring it in when it gets into the 30s this week. Got a little volunteer chamomile plant popping up in this pot. That's always fun. And then the green stalk, the lettuce is just loving this kind of weather. This is sage. It's doing well. But I have all lettuce and arugula and spinach in here. Some of them didn't make it, didn't look too good. So what I'm going to be doing is just direct seeding some more lettuce seeds in here before the warm weather comes. All of those pots over there are my neighbor's beautiful perennial flowers she has in those pots. They look gorgeous in the summer. Before we move downstairs to the down the stairs to the garden, I just wanted to show you this little storage box that I got to keep myself organized up here on the deck. I was able to really get rid of some of the clutter. These trays I'm going to be using to pot some summer stuff shortly, like my cucumbers, beans I haven't started yet, the zucchini. So I thought I'd start on this side of the garden today. And this is what I usually call tomato row. I've got the cauliflower and broccoli underneath this cloth. And the cloth is really, it serves a number of purposes in the garden, but the purpose right now and why I have them over the brassicas is to keep animals from eating the seedlings, because I've lost cabbages and broccoli before. I don't know if it's a squirrel. I don't know if they're rabbits. Probably rabbits. I've got an opossum. The opossum's back. Whatever does eat baby seedlings, this cloth really helps kind of fool them into not knowing they're underneath. But I'm not going to take the whole cloth off. But as you can see, they're growing nicely. They're still kind of tiny. This is a broccoli rabe that overwintered from last year. And later on, when it really starts heating up, this can be used as shade cloth. And also, it will keep the cabbage butterflies off, the white butterflies that love to eat brassica leaves. So it's very handy. Over here it looks like I have some volunteer, I think either sunflowers or zinnia coming up. We're going to just let them be and see what happens there. Over here is where I had the pumpkins kind of decaying all winter long, and they did give a lot of seed. I'll see if I get any volunteer pumpkin plants, but what I'm seeing are some volunteer sunflowers. And this is where I'm going to have a big sunflower patch. This soil is not very good. It's also up against the foundation a little too close. And sunflowers have a very good property where they can draw a lot of toxins out of the soil. So I'm going to be putting a patch of sunflowers here. And the other thing is it gets really good sun throughout the day. And also because it's not up against the top of a fence, the squirrels don't have access to the heads. And last year, any sunflowers that I had on this side, their heads were eaten off by squirrels. They didn't even wait for them to seed up, they just ate the flower heads. So I'm still probably going to plant them in between the tomatoes though, see what happens this year. Over here, in these green bags are all brassicas that overwintered from last year. Some of them are still a little tiny, and some of them are already almost on its way out. Here's a big broccoli rabe. And to harvest broccoli rabe, which I've been doing quite a bit of, what I've been doing is I've been taking off like snipping off here and leaving the smaller ones to grow on. And so it's kind of a cut and come again method. And I've collected a good size gallon Ziploc bag where I freeze them already. So I'm happy about that. The brassicas, although they're doing pretty good, this Brussels sprout, not so much. I never got any nice tight little cabbagey looking Brussels sprouts, so I'm probably going to rip this out soon. I'm probably going to just harvest these little sprouts here on that broccoli and rip them out, and then I'm going to plant those potatoes I showed you before. But in the black bags, I already planted the potatoes that I had chitting since, I guess, maybe February, the beginning of March, something like that. But anyway, these were just supermarket, red potatoes from the supermarket, organic. So I know that they weren't sprayed with anything that inhibits their sprouting. And as you can see, they're already starting to come up. And what I do with the potatoes is I let them grow up to about here in the bag, and then what I do is I cover them with compost and let them continue to grow and hopefully send out some more shoots to form potatoes. All of the garlic that I planted in the garden are doing really, really well. They look very healthy. I'm very happy about that. And in the middle here, I put my summer cabbage, hiding them from the squirrels. Got some weeds going on. And what I'm going to do, even before the cabbage is done, is I'm going to be putting peppers in this bed as well. It's going to look a little crammed, but hopefully I spaced everything well enough to give everything room to grow. As you can see from this angle, I did remove all of the cardboard and I laid down some white clover, white Dutch clover seeds, and some of it is starting to sprout. And to fill in the gaps today, I came in and I just shook a little bit more out to kind of fill in. I'm really trying hard not to walk in this area where the seed is, but there's not much I can do to keep Lady off. Not sure what I'm going to be putting in these containers here, which I just kind of use as a retaining wall. Last year I had marigolds and borage, and as you can see, I've got a volunteer borage coming, which is nice considering the ones I started from seeds are not doing too well. But I think I might do petunias or something, because this is a very sunny spot, and petunias need a lot of sun, so I might be doing petunias in here. So I wanted to show you this brick. This is coconut husk mulch, and it comes compressed, and what happens is when you wet it, it kind of disintegrates and it expands and it covers a really nice amount of space. And one of the major reasons why I like this form of mulch is because it's light and I can carry it. So it comes 4 in a box, and one of them might weigh, I don't know, maybe 15 pounds or so, as opposed to one of those 40-pound bags of mulch that you would buy. I mean, it is annoying that you have to wet it, but it's not that hard to do. And I'll show you what I did on the other side of the garden with this. So this is it when it's spread. And what I did first is I put down cardboard. As you can see, the boxes didn't quite fit. But I figured this would make a good weed barrier. And this is what it looks like, and I like the look. It's also very, very soft and comfortable to walk on, and it really didn't take long at all to do it. Coming over here, this is the mint bed, and I've got some storage going on top of it, which I have to remove soon to let the mint grow on. Here are some peas. And I started these peas actually in the mini greenhouse right here in these small grow bags. And I really did that because I've not had luck with peas because they're eaten in either the seedling stage or as seeds by, I don't know, mice, squirrels, whatever wildlife likes peas. So I waited until they were a little bit sizable, and I used some branches actually off of the mint plant, some dead branches to help guide it, and then they're going to grow up this cattle panel here. And what I'm hoping is this entire deck over here is going to be filled with life this year. In this bed and the perimeter there, I've got sweet peas, which grow very similarly to regular peas, and they're all different colors. I got reds and blues and oranges, and I'm hoping to put in another batch soon so I can have sort of a succession of the sweet peas, but the plan is to let them grow up and cover the deck. In here, you can see the carrots have made a big comeback. These are the ones that overwintered. They were looking really scrawny when I showed them to you back in March. And then I've got a couple of broccoli in here. Here's a parsley plant that overwintered. And these gaping holes are going to be where the eggplant's going to go. The eggplants have always been in this bed and they seem to like it. And then coming around this way, we've got some leeks that overwintered, and I think I'm going to be putting some more leeks in here. This space here is very odd because I've got the hose, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just mulch there because I don't want to break anybody's neck with the hose. Swiss chard. This beautiful beauty over here is a lily plant that looks like she had some babies. We've got some echinacea right here. And then over here, some of these are 3-year-old Swiss chard plants, and some of them are new that I seeded and this winter and just planted last week. But I figured if these old plants like this spot so much, just make a Swiss chard patch. More garlic, more echinacea, more carrots. These are starting to make a comeback too. And I decided with this bed here, underneath the lavender, I'm going to have a medicinal herb flower garden. So I've got the echinacea, I'm going to plant calendula here, I'm going to plant borage and chamomile, and this is going to be hopefully a nice, robust section of the garden devoted to healing flowers. In this bed, we've got the beautiful broccoli rabe that has just been producing and producing. It's got a lot of florets on it. I mean, granted, they're small, but there's so many of them. So I'll pick them, and what I've been doing is freezing them, and then I can make a couple of meals out of it whenever I want. The garlic around this side is looking good, and over here around this side is where I planted the onions. I did a video on that last week if you want to take a look at how I planted the onions. Now this is what a brassica looks like when a rabbit starts to eat it. I think this was supposed to be a Brussels sprout, but as you can see, its head was eaten off. We've got some carrots in here, some celery, and let me show you, this is pretty cool. This is supposed to be a Romanesco broccoli, and I'm going to see if I can find a picture of the one that I grew last year. Look at the pretty pink flowers. Well, unfortunately, this Romanesco decided to go to flower instead of developing a big fat head like it did last year. So I'm just going to let it flower because it's just awfully pretty like that. I think because we had a couple of days well over 70 degrees, almost 90 one day, about, was it last week? I don't know, but it was recently. What happened was a lot of these, I think the Brussels sprouts and the Romanesco over here, they just started to bolt and go to flower. And I finally cleared this bed out. It was a mess. This is where I had the Three Sisters garden last year. I had zucchini, corn, and pole beans growing in one big tangled mess. And I did get a lot of beans. The corn grew and formed, but they were very, very small. And I ended up leaving a lot of them in place, which I noticed when I cleared out, they were well eaten by somebody over the winter, so that didn't go to waste. I transplanted some garlic. This was garlic that I planted 2 falls ago, and I missed them when I was harvesting the garlic last year, which isn't a surprise because they were so small anyway. But these continue to grow, and so I decided to break them apart. They were all growing in a clump, and plant them here. And this is going to be an additional tomato bed this year, and hopefully they'll vine up all the way up the to the deck. And on this side where that big pole is going to be where my beans are going to grow. I'm going to have a bunch of pole beans on this side and then the tomatoes on this side. Then in the front row here, I'm going to be putting more carrots. So over here, I still have a tremendous amount of work to do, and I'm going to take it slow, an hour a day, and clear this out, weed whack some of that long grass. We're going to power wash the fence so it looks nice, and I'm not in a rush for this actually, because this is where I'm going to be putting some impatiens and begonias. This is the north-facing side of the garden. It gets very, very little light, so only something that's very shade-tolerant can be planted here. And impatiens love heat, so that's going to, you know, be a while before it's going to be ready for them to be planted anyway. But that's the plan. This wood I'm going to try burning. I actually did start a fire not too long ago. Last weekend I had a little fire going in the fire pit, and I realized I learned how to make it rain, because it hadn't rained in days and days, and as soon as I lit the fire, it started drizzling and it went on to rain all day. So anyway, if anybody wants to know how to make it rain, just start a little fire in your fire pit. There you go. And this was a stump that this lady over here, the one who reminds me of my aunt, who was a school teacher, reading to me when I was a little girl. Anyway, she used to sit on the stump. The stump fell over sometime this winter, and it's very spongy, soft. It's very spongy, soft wood, and it's probably going to make some good compost not too long from now. I did replace some of the solar lights and add some of the solar tea lights, which are awfully cute in the evening. They flicker and everything. So that's nice. I can look out my bedroom window and see this kind of in a magical way at night. It's very nice having the lighting. As you can see, it's coming along. It's progress. I'm going to be planting out some more things next week as we get into the end of April. And soon I'm going to be hardening off my warm season vegetables in the mini greenhouse, getting ready to start sowing some more seeds inside and some seeds outside. Trying to take it a little slow so I don't get too overwhelmed and I don't hurt myself. You know, an hour and a half a day, that's it. And I've been making progress, so I feel good about that. Well, that's it. It looks like it's about to rain. It's actually, the wind is picking up and it's looking pretty blustery. So I hope you liked this tour. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. I hope you share it and subscribe and join our growing community. And from the Ladies Gardening Home, enjoy your gardening journey.